I get asked this all the time, why do I shoot with Lumix? And to be honest, with so many great cameras on the market today, it is a fair question. But instead of getting caught up in a million spec comparisons, I thought I'd go through the real day-to-day reasons I love using Lumix cameras as a working filmmaker and why they've earned a permanent place in my kit. So here are my top 10 reasons why I shoot on Lumix cameras. Let's start with one of the major ones, and for me, that's open gate. Recording using the entire sensor and not being limited to a 16:9 ratio is super useful. It seems every client project I'm working on these days has a requirement for multiple aspect ratios, which means I'm almost always shooting in open gate, and recently that's been in 7.2K using the S1R Mark II. Even if large resolution isn't important to you, an efficient workflow should be. I mean, can you just pull the camera back further, use a wider lens, or flip your camera sideways? You can, but I don't have to, and that's the point. And now this is one thing Lumix consistently does better than almost anyone. Free, meaningful firmware upgrades. Not just bug fixes, but features and workflow upgrades. Cameras I have from years ago are capable of things now they simply weren't when I first unboxed them. From autofocus upgrades, multiple frame markers and additional codec options, to literally turning your phone into an external monitor. Even additions to lens functionality, all for free. A great segue from firmware updates is the fact that Lumix actually listens to user feedback and improves the product based on their input. And this is huge. Often if there's a feature or fix the community is talking about, it will appear in a future firmware update, if not in a new model somewhere down the line. They're actually listening to filmmakers and photographers' needs, and that feedback loop means you can influence the tools you use and often get those improvements via firmware updates. The IBIS is honestly ridiculous. It's something that Lumix has been known for now for a long time, and somehow they just keep improving it. The stabilisation on the new S-Line, for example, is crazy. And this can be the difference between capturing a shot and missing it. It lets you move fast, stay light, and still deliver polished looking footage. Professional partnerships is something that shouldn't be overlooked. Lumix doesn't exist in a bubble and seems to encourage creative and technical collaboration, working with the likes of ARRI, Frame.io, Capture One, Blackmagic, and Leica. In fact, Lumix is the only mirrorless partnership ARRI has ever made, introducing the renowned ARRI color science into selected models in the Lumix lineup. Lumix cameras are packed full of super useful video tools that make nailing the shot that much easier. Things like waveform, false color, frame markers, the red rec frame, tally lamp, full-size HDMI with optional info, an extensive codec menu, dual native ISO indicator, multiple stabilization modes, and extensive anamorphic support. Everything you need is right there. It all comes standard in camera, and often even if the camera didn't start with these features, they were added for free via firmware update later. Now this makes investing in the brand as well as being part of it safe and exciting at the same time. You have multiple manufacturers all on the same mount offering a plethora of options for lenses, and that means choice, flexibility, and long-term investment protection. With brands like these, you're not only getting very high quality, but you have a great selection of lenses to choose from. And as a side note, some of the Lumix lenses are also actually Leica certified. Customization is huge on the Lumix lineup, with almost all of the buttons across the body customizable, and this makes it super easy to have the camera match your specific workflow preference. Used to having a particular function on your index finger, well, you can easily reassign that dial. And this even extends to some of the lens's focus rings. This has brought the fun back to photography for me. If you like to work fast and creatively, you will love this as much as I do. Now, I don't use real-time LUT for everything, but when I want to just be creative and focus on the photo, this function is king. With a giant amount of looks available to download for free, real-time LUT bakes in a creative look to your photos, taking the slow editing process away. You can even set it up so every time you take a shot, the camera will automatically send it to your phone, which makes this incredible for quickly sharing to socials. I really love using this with my S9 for all of my behind the scenes, travel, and family photos now. The Lumix ecosystem doesn't stop at the camera. Lumix Lab and Flow not only streamline the entire process, but they make it more fun from shooting to delivery. Phone plus camera connection, LUT transfer, monitor use, it means less friction and more momentum. Things happen quicker on set and generally makes the whole process a lot more fun. There's so much more to Lumix that I could talk about here, but the main thing for me is that these cameras start off great and they keep getting better after you buy them with input from the actual creatives that use them. And that's why I keep choosing Lumix. They're a brand that cares about the image quality and functionality as much as the people that use them. So if you're thinking about switching or you've got questions, drop them below. And if you're already shooting with Lumix, well, you probably know exactly what I've been talking about.